Hello. Thank you for reviewing this presentation about applying for OPT with thesis or dissertation remaining. After watching this video, you will be able to understand the option to apply for OPT with thesis or dissertation remaining, compare the benefits and disadvantages of starting OPT before graduation, define the mechanics for applying for OPT with dissertation or thesis remaining. To be eligible to apply for post-completion OPT with thesis or dissertation remaining, you must be a graduate student who has completed all required coursework. Thesis or dissertation must be your only remaining requirement to be eligible to apply for post-completion OPT before graduation. Your OPT application process will be similar to graduating students. However, one big difference is your OPT I-20 program end date will not match your graduation quarter. The post-completion OPT start date must be after the OPT I-20 program end date. ISS must change your I-20 program end date to recommend OPT. You must choose which quarter to apply for OPT. When you request an OPT I-20 from ISS, the OPT I-20 will reflect that quarter's end date. After that quarter ends, you will transition to the OPT phase of F1 status and must follow the OPT year rules. You might still be registered and completing your thesis or dissertation requirements. However, to maintain F1 status, the U.S. government will expect you to follow the OPT rules. There are pros and cons to starting OPT with your thesis or dissertation still remaining. One benefit is that after your OPT I-20 program end date, you are not required to enroll to maintain F1 status. However, please note that we are only referencing F1 status. Consult your graduate program advisor about possible enrollment requirements for academic reasons. Another benefit is that post-completion OPT provides authorization to work full-time anywhere in the U.S. in a job related to your degree. One possible disadvantage is that on-campus work authorization ends on your OPT I-20 program end date. This would affect RATA eligibility. Another possible disadvantage is that the 90-day unemployment limit applies. Third, the I-20 cannot be extended. The OPT I-20 program end date will be in the past, so you should complete your degree within the OPT year. Is applying for post-completion OPT before completing your thesis or dissertation the right option for you? Consider these factors. Do you have graduate funding that requires on-campus work authorization? How soon will you complete your thesis or dissertation? Do you have a job offer? What are current USCIS processing times? Is your work start date flexible? Is CPT a possible alternative training authorization option? Let's review a sample case study. A PhD student schedules their defense July 1st. They have an August 1st job offer. It is currently April. What are their options? The student's first option is to apply for post-completion OPT based on a spring quarter program end date. This would follow the same application timeline as spring graduates, even though this student will not graduate until summer quarter. The student would request an OPT I-20 from ISS. We would issue an OPT I-20 with a spring quarter program end date. The spring quarter end date is what allows the student to request OPT to begin August 1st. It's okay for the student to register summer quarter while on OPT. They would need to self-pay for their summer credits. This is because the student's on-campus work permission would expire at the end of spring quarter. This includes RA and TA positions. The only exception where a student can continue a UW job is if a student chooses an OPT start date immediately after spring quarter ends and the OPT is approved in time. Also, the UW job must relate to the student's studies because it would be classified as an OPT activity, not on-campus employment. Here is a visual timeline of the student's first option. In April, the student requests an OPT I-20 from ISS. The OPT I-20 will have a spring quarter end date of June 10th and a requested OPT start date of August 1st. Note that on-campus work authorization ends on June 10th, the spring quarter end date. The student registers for summer quarter and does their defense as planned for July 11th. As long as USCIS approves the OPT, the student can start working August 1st. The student's second option is to apply for OPT based on summer completion. This would be a standard OPT application. The OPT I-20 program end date would match the graduation quarter. The OPT start date would be after summer quarter ends, however, so it would not accommodate the August 1st job start date. CPT might be a possibility for the August 1st work start date during summer quarter. Here is a visual timeline for the second option. The student must wait until May to request the OPT I-20 from ISS because they are following the summer graduation OPT timeline. They request the OPT I-20 with a summer program end date of August 19th and an OPT start date of August 20th. August 20th is the earliest possible OPT start date in this scenario because the OPT I-20 program end date is August 19th, the end of summer quarter. The student registers for summer quarter and does their defense on July 11th. If they have an RA or TA position, that is fine. They have on-campus work authorization through August 19th. It might also be possible to apply for CPT authorization for the off-campus job from August 1st through August 19th. The goal would be to transition from CPT to OPT authorization for the same job in this example. Please also note that these dates are just for examples. You would need to look at the calendar dates for the upcoming academic terms. Every student's situation is slightly different. That's why it's important to consider the different factors and possible timelines to see if this option would be beneficial for you or not. Thank you for joining us for this video. If you have more questions, please contact an advisor at ISS.